What is going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football, bringing you guys another draft profile today. It is Dee Ford, the defensive end out of Auburn. And just remember, keep in mind, a lot of draft stock will be shifting from now and until the NFL draft. And shout out to Draft Breakdown for the highlights in this video. But let's get right into this one again. Dee Ford, defensive end out of Auburn, standing at about 6'2", 244 pounds. Some collegiate stats: 93 total tackles, 20.5 sacks, 27.5 tackles for loss, and 3 forced fumbles. A couple of things you might want to know about Dee Ford. First of all, he was in the BCS National Championship in 2011. Didn't play, I don't think he played in that game, and if he did, it wasn't a whole lot. He was in the SEC Championship game in 2010 and 2013. First team All-SEC in 2013, and he was the 2014 Senior Bowl MVP. Those are just a few kind of highlights and awards for Dee Ford. Now, getting to some of his pros and cons. First of all, I believe he is an edge rusher. He predominantly is successful when it comes to rushing off the edge, beating the left or right tackle, and then getting after the quarterback. That's where Dee Ford shines. That's where I think he could make his money in the NFL. So in order to do that, he needs to have the speed, and I think he does. Now, according to some of the scouts at the Pro Days, Dee Ford was able to run in the low 4.5s, which is fairly solid for a defensive end. Now, again, he is a bit of an undersized defensive end, and I'll get to later on what I think and where he will be schematically. But right now, he is listed as a defensive end. I think he's more of an outside linebacker. Hand combat to get past those offensive tackles. He needs to be able to get in their face. He needs to have quick hands, get him out of the way, and get to the quarterback. I think he can do that very well as well. Now, batting balls down, whenever he gets beat, whenever he gets tangled up with offensive tackles and offensive linemen in general, he doesn't stop there. He tends to look, what else can I do? How can I help? How can I still make an impact on this play? And what he likes to do is he'll jump up, time the pass right, when the quarterback is throwing the ball, and he'll bat balls down. That's another thing I noticed about Dee Ford that he does pretty well, and he does it actually fairly often. So those are, I think, his pros. Now, his cons versus the run. Again, he's a lean defender. He's 244, not necessarily an ideal defensive end. So I would more look at him as an outside linebacker, and preferably him being an edge rusher. I think a 3-4 outside linebacker could make sense. Again, his lean size could be a con potentially, and also his injury history. I'd like to pull this up for you guys, just kind of have or show you what ESPN has listed here for Dee Ford. In 2010, he missed one game due to injury. 2011, he suffered a season-ending herniated disc injury, which is always scary stuff when it ever comes to back injuries, herniated discs, all that kind of stuff. That ended his season in Game 3 of 2011, and he was also granted medical red shirt. In 2012, he suffered an abdominal injury against Arkansas, did not play against Ole Miss. Played limited snaps the next 2 games against Vanderbilt and Texas. In 2013, he missed the first 2 games of the season with a knee. And then he also missed part of the combine due to medical reasons, and was a medical exclusion at the combine due to a lumbar spine and little injuries here and there. I think the most notable one being that herniated disc in 2011 that ended his season early. Things like that you need to look into and just kind of pay attention to see what kind of problems could NFL teams run into when it comes to evaluating the players that they want to draft. Dee Ford potentially could see his stock fall slightly due to his injury history. That was a mouthful, but getting to his projection, I think he's a second-round guy. I think a lot of people want to jump the gun and say he's a first-rounder. I'm going to say he's a second-round guy. I don't know if you can utilize him on all 3 downs in the NFL level. I could potentially see him primarily being a pass rusher, an edge rusher who gets thrown in certain situations. For me, the whole downside to him was versus the run. He needs to get better at that. He was not able to be very successful when it came to stopping running backs or even being in on those plays, because offensive tackles had their way with Dee Ford. He'd get tangled up with them, they'd push him around, and then he just really would not do anything on those plays. So I think versus the run was a potential problem as well. So potentially, I think drafting a guy just to be a situational edge rusher, pass rusher, in my opinion, I don't know if he should go in the first round. But again, that's just me. I think second round could be his range. Teams of interest, I think this was based off of, just needing an outside linebacker, not necessarily a defensive end. Potentially teams of, being Tampa Bay, Buffalo, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Saints. I think, a group of those teams, not looking schematically at them, just overall based off of need potentially, Dee Ford could fit just, based off of, needing an outside linebacker. So let me know what you guys think. Throw your comments down below, questions, concerns, all that good stuff. But that was my Dee Ford draft profile, and that is all I got for you guys today. I'm out.